Well, good day there, boys and girls. Welcome back to another episode of Traplines and Inlines. It's a beauty day here. We got a fun little video here for you today, guys. I had a lot of fun. I was online and I seen this axe here, and instantly I was intrigued by the design and the idea of it. The idea of having a cross-shaped axe, a four-way splitter, and the idea of the time savings of being able to split a piece of wood into 4 pieces in one swing. And also, honestly, the badassery of the whole deal. And what it is just 2 axe heads fabricated together. So that whole idea had me intrigued enough that I took on this project and built this axe to see if it had any practicality or it was just a novelty item you hang up in the shop. It looks like a cool looking weapon. Or is it actually a useful, practical tool? In this video, guys, we're going to be taking 2 broken axes, taking the heads off them, and fabricating and welding this axe. So we'll go through the whole steps of building this custom axe head and then hanging the axe on this big 36-inch handle. And it turned out beautiful. It's quite a good looking thing. And then we head out, you know, guys, and we get out there in the wood lot and at the wood pile, and we start splitting wood, and we really put it to the test. And the results were pretty intriguing, and let me tell you, it was a lot of fun making this one and playing with this axe. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. Let's get right at her. Thanks for watching, guys. So I'm sure, like many of you, I have the odd spare axe head and broken axe laying around. And this is a great little project to burn them up. It doesn't cost much to do, and I'm hoping it turns out good. What we have here is a long axe handle. It's 36 inches. We'll construct it out of these 2 old axe heads that aren't doing anything here for me. And I also bought this new tool. And these are contour gauges. And you'll see why they are so useful here in a second. Some force required. Now will be the easiest time to clean the rust off these and sharpen them so they're ready to go. This wire wheel does an excellent job of that. Neither of these axes are splitting heads, and this one is much more sufficient, and when we put 2 together we get the weight we want out of a splitting head. But this one is so thin it's not good for splitting, so we'll cut it against the grain and then sharpen it and move the bulk of the material with the angle grinder for simplicity. Okay, so we have our 2 axe heads cleaned up. This is the one we're going to cut in half. So that's my center line, my cut line. I drew it on both sides so we can cut from both sides because it's a fair bit of material to cut through. Now the bottom of the axe head always curves down more. It's got a different shape than the top half. Yet we still wanted to draw a center line based on this portion of the axe. Now when we overlap these, here we want these to be symmetrical. We're going to have to trace this out, remove a little bit here. Okay, so it's time to start figuring out how we're going to mount this piece to our main axe. Now, if these are like this, we're going to have 4 contact points all at once. That's actually not what we want. We want this backed off so it's going to make the initial split with this before it digs into this, and then on the follow through we have the second split, hopefully. So I am going to shorten this head. Now that's going to be about 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch. I had seen some of these other ones like this that I had seen, and they were just welded on like this. Well, I want this notched on here nicely, and that way we'll have a big welding surface. We'll be able to weld the whole thing and not just where it contacts. Then we can lock it in place, and that's what we need. So once we cut that out, that should slide this in and sit real nice along the edge of the entire axe head and give us a nice notch professional look that we can weld the whole surface onto. Beautiful. Got to make sure that these line up perfectly, or in the front and in the back, you know. My Einsteinian of the day. Geez, this is going to be quite a weapon. Okay, so I got this all welded together there now, and it looks nice. Really quite nice, turned out good. I'll probably leave those welds because it doesn't matter, but where it does matter is right at the tip. That's gonna have to be ground down, and I welded it right to the tip. I'm working at our axe head, and I gotta sharpen this. Also taking off all the splatter from the welding, getting it cleaned up nice. I've been playing around with a collection of discs here. These are polishing discs and flap discs. I'm running an 80 grit flap disc on this grinder right now, and I'm really liking how you can take off a good amount of this material and smooth out any defects. And also, it works damn good for sharpening because you can move a fair amount of material in a hurry without it being as consequential as using a big grinding disc. So we got our axe head tuned up pretty good. You know, I better not get carried away. It's an axe head, it's a tool. As fun as it is polishing it up, it's not really that practical because we're building this to split wood, not to hang up in the workshop. This is a pretty decent axe head. It's got a 45-degree grain on it, if that means anything to you. This axe head only goes one way. Usually you can tell, but you see, it goes a lot harder the one way than it does the other way. You want it the way that it goes harder. You can see that's clearly upside down, but this is actually the way you want this. Until you actually do this, see, I'm sinking it right down. Until you actually do that, it looks so stupid. Until you do it and realize it works so damn good. See, I'm really getting it down there nice, just with those light little taps. You can see I'm starting to peel the wood over right about there. It's starting to catch. I'm already gonna pop this off. Okay, you can see it's starting to peel over here. All I'm gonna do, you can actually see it's starting to peel a bit here. But if I just take my knife here, and I just take off those little bits of wood that are peeling. I can tell it's peeling here a bit, so I will just take off a bit. And here, maybe not as necessary. So just made some fine adjustments. come back with their axe head. But if we just take this axe here, look at this. You see how that's coming? It's hard to believe, it really is. The sound's changed now because it's got nowhere further to go. And this axe is seated so damn good there now. I would like to show you this. It's top notch. Truth is, I've only had that axe head off twice. I made 2 little fine-tune adjustments. There is absolutely no gap. I'm gonna leave about 1/4 of an inch on this axe head. Beautiful. As you can see, there's actually not enough wood there for this wedge to sit all the way down if need be. And that is a problem. Because if we bottom the edge out, we'll end up just driving the wedge into the handle and off the head. I would actually really like to put some wood glue on here. These are all buggered up on me, so we'll do without. That's looking good. I did split it, attach that wedge. I would love glue in there because then it would hold the piece together if I did split it. But that's fine. We'll see how that goes. See, I'm getting 4 pieces. This one I'm not sure. 4 pieces. Whew. This is pretty cool all of a sudden. So I found an unexpected use for this axe, which is here cutting up smaller pieces for kindling and stuff like that. So even if it doesn't work so good on full round logs, so far it's working damn good here. They don't always split into 4, but sometimes, but quite often they do, right into 4 nice pieces. Which is what we designed it to do. Sure working pretty damn nice here, guys. Yes. Look at that. Beauty. 4 pieces. Try a little bigger one here. 4 pieces. Some of these are pretty soft. 4 pieces. Fuck. I'm sure having a lot of fun with this. It's definitely already turned out to be a very useful thing. And I think I've actually, and what's happened here is I've built it for a different purpose than I'm gonna end up using it. Because what I'm realizing, an axe of this magnitude, like it, to the force it takes to split a big round 4 ways is gonna be immense. So it'll work on smaller logs, being able to split them 4 ways, but they're just all gonna end up into pieces like this, which are really kindling. And I think this is what this is really gonna do well at. And so I came out to the woodlot here and quickly bucked up some firewood so we can test out our axe here in a real life format. Now these are green poplar trees. This one's actually soft. It's a pretty big tree as well. We're gonna really try and put it to the test, because when I come out here, I follow her green and I get right at her. So that's really the test of it. It's kind of gonna be soft and spongy. The ground is soft, but that's a real world test here. And the truth is, I think it's gonna struggle here. Here's another consideration. If you sink it into a big soft piece like this, it's gonna be hard to get out of there. No bueno. My first test was a fail, but let's try this smaller piece. See, that works good. I didn't quite get it in 4 that time, but now I did. That's still a fair-sized piece of firewood. The truth is, I would never split this one in 4 though, unless I was making kindling. See, this one's split in 4. There's really spongy wood, hey? But what we're finding out is what we have here is not a splitting axe. It's a kindling axe. Now, the truth be told, I didn't build it for that purpose. I thought I could maybe get through some bigger ones. But this is kind of the problem I'm running into. If you want to split this in 4 pieces, you want to hit it in the center. Well, the center's soft. And then when you get this stuck 4 ways, it don't really want to come out of there. Now, if this was dry, good dry wood, probably not so spongy like this poplar is here, green, it would probably work a lot better. Or if it was frozen. But I don't think I'm going to find a use for it here splitting. But I have found a good use for it, that's for sure. Because what I usually do is I cut big rounds, because they get the most wood in the least amount of time. Split big rounds, split them one way, throw them in the truck, that's good. Just like this. Okay. Now, when you split a big piece like that's a pretty big piece of wood. But in the occasion that you want some kindling, some smaller pieces, some smaller fires, what have you, this is when you break out this axe. Because quite often you just obliterate them into many different pieces. And you know, the truth is, they don't always go. Sometimes you don't hit them good and you get them in 2 or you get them in 3. But quite often you get them in 4, especially when they're dry. And you would use this on dry wood, most likely, because you would bring in your big pieces, they would dry, and then you would use this one to split them into smaller pieces when they're ready to burn. Yeah. But like, even a smaller piece like this, you'll take it and you'll kind of just obliterate it into a bunch of real nice small sized pieces. Boom, 4, kindling. Again, kindling. This is the deadly purpose for this axe. Take a closer look here, guys. I think we're gonna see a big reduction in kindle and cutting time around here. So you can see, guys, for the reasons previously stated, you know, throughout this, our testing process and stuff, I don't think I will be using this out splitting. But by God, is it ever some kind of useful just here at the wood lot splitting kindling. Because you take a piece, it really don't matter what size it is, you hit it right in the center and you obliterate it. You don't always obliterate it, but most of the time you do. And you could sure build a pile of kindling in a hurry, splitting one piece into 4. And this has got a real practical use for sure. It's a tool that's going to get used a lot, not just something that's going to look pretty. Now, in terms of actually being out in the bush and splitting green wood like I usually do, it's not going to have a purpose there. The reality of it is that soft green wood, it sinks in there too bad. It takes too much force to split that piece directly in the center into 4 pieces. And now under a drier wood, that it would be different. Like that same piece of wood having been seasoned would split a lot easier, or at a better time of the year than the spring, which is the worst time of the year to be splitting it, it would be better. But the reality of it is, I'm always going to be reaching for my big maul to split them in half, because I think it's far less intensive and more practical. I still think that's the best way to be out there splitting big rounds like I like to. You know, I like playing with those big pieces and pile it up in a hurry. But by God, this is going to get used, let me tell you. And I had a lot of fun building this. I had a lot of fun showing you guys building this. And all it cost was 2 broken piece of shit axe heads that I'm not going to use for anything else. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope everyone's doing just great. All the best, guys.